Does working at a funeral home really involve unexplainable supernatural phenomena? This new hit horror film from 2026 will give you the answer. Our protagonist, Barry, is a top mortuary science student. Before graduating, she was hired by a funeral home as an apprentice assistant. Her daily work is simple and tedious. Sometimes applying makeup, other times handling embalming. Her boss, Raymond, seems very kind. He almost never lets Barry work the night shift. This is considered very rare in the mortuary business. The only special rule is that no one is allowed in the basement. What could possibly be hidden down there? Barry has no interest in finding out. After all, finding a job isn't easy. Getting paid on time each month is all that matters. However, an unexpected incident occurs. That evening, after Barry attended her Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, she suddenly gets a call from her boss, Raymond. He says the funeral home received a few bodies, but he has an urgent matter and can't make it. He hopes Barry can come in for overtime. Barry doesn't think twice and quickly agrees. Little did she know, her nightmare was about to begin. The funeral home is eerily silent. Barry just wants to finish her work quickly. The list requires her to embalm the bodies before cremation. Although she finds this process a bit redundant, Barry still follows the instructions obediently. She skillfully pulls out the first body. She drains all the bodily fluids, then injects embalming fluid into the chest cavity. Finally, she pushes the body into the cremator. The entire process is now complete. But just as Barry sits down to take notes, something strange happens. The second body suddenly moves. Barry doesn't notice a thing. Instead, she feels a wave of dizziness. When she comes to, she finds herself sitting in a chair. The phone suddenly rings. It's her boss calling to check in. During the call, he casually mentions that if Barry notices anything unusual, she must call him immediately. On the other end, Raymond has taken off his shirt. He seems to be drawing something on his chest. Meanwhile, Barry has started working on the second body. But after a clap of thunder, the funeral home is plunged into darkness. She has to feel her way to the office to find candles. Not noticing the body behind her, moves once again. After rummaging through a drawer for a while, she only finds a wooden box carved with a flame. Inside is a stack of talismans with strange patterns. Unable to find any candles, Barry uses these for light instead. As she pushes the second body into the furnace, the power mysteriously comes back on. This allows Barry to see the third body clearly. It's covered in stab wounds. She must have endured something horrific while alive. Barry sighs to herself. She prepares to continue the embalming. A frantic knocking comes from the hallway. Curious, Barry goes to check. In the distance, a pair of glowing red eyes stares at her. But when she turns back, not only has the figure vanished, but the body on the gurney is also gone. While Barry is confused, the phone rings insistently again. She picks it up and is instantly stunned. It's all your fault, because the voice on the other end is her deceased father. Barry hangs up, backing away in fear. But the phone rings once more. The girl tries to stay calm. She picks up the receiver again. This time, it's news about her father's tragic death. An endless wave of fear washes over her. The next second, Barry suddenly wakes up in her bed. She looks around, confused. She can't remember how she got home. Could last night have just been a nightmare? Just as Barry is wondering, a frantic knock comes from the door. She turns and walks into the living room, not noticing the words appearing on the glass. "Let me in." Barry musters the courage to open the door. It's her best friend from the AA meeting. She lets out a quiet sigh of relief. But her friend sees Barry's dazed state and thinks she started drinking again. She hugs her and tries to comfort her. But just then, Barry's pupils suddenly change color. Her limbs move uncontrollably, attacking her friend. It's as if she's possessed by a mysterious force. She picks up a bottle opener from the floor and stabs her best friend violently in the head, until the other woman stops breathing completely. Only then does Barry snap out of it. She instinctively washes the blood off her body. She has no idea what to do. Finally, she has no choice but to call Raymond for help. Unexpectedly, her boss on the other end is extremely calm, as if he already knew what had happened. He tells Barry to return to the funeral home immediately. If she wants to survive, her only option is to hide in the morgue. Before Barry can hang up, her dead friend suddenly gets up. Barry screams and runs outside, only to see another version of her friend. This time, Barry is completely bewildered. She runs frantically back to the funeral home. Sure enough, Raymond is already waiting there. Without waiting for Barry to ask why, he reveals the truth. It turns out Raymond had long discovered this funeral home is a gateway between hell and earth. If demons want to return to the human world, they must possess a living body. They will constantly amplify their target's fears and painful memories until their victim breaks down and is taken over. Clearly, Barry has been targeted by a demon. Luckily, Raymond has been secretly studying this for years. To banish a demon back to hell, you must know its name. Raymond takes out a ritual compass. He says that by finding 4 symbols on it, they can determine the demon's name. Just as he's about to explain the next exorcism steps, Barry suddenly faints. When she wakes up, she has been temporarily possessed by the demon. She knocks Raymond out with a single punch. intending to eliminate this threat for good. But Raymond was prepared. He reveals the talisman on his chest. The demon inside her stumbles back. Raymond quickly gets up and runs outside, locking Barry inside. By now, she has come to her senses. She continuously begs her boss. Unfortunately, Raymond is unmoved. He turns and disappears into the dark street. Devastated, Barry collapses to the floor, sobbing. At that very moment, the terrifying demon attacks with illusions. First, it takes the form of her grandmother, who stands outside, calling Barry a burden. Then, it transforms into her father. He hands her a blade, telling Barry to reunite with him soon. Her closest loved ones have all turned into terrifying monsters, repeatedly tearing open Barry's old wounds. Just as the girl is about to break down, the phone in the living room rings. Raymond gets straight to the point, explaining the rest of the exorcism ritual. They must use fresh blood to lure the demon into a body, then put it in the cremator to be destroyed. Barry clings to this last hope. She follows his instructions without hesitation, but the moment the cremator door closes, Barry feels like she's the one being burned. The next second, she wakes from her trance. She immediately calls Raymond, telling him the method didn't work. However, Raymond on the other end is confused. He anxiously explains that he never contacted Barry at all. The previous call was definitely a trick by the demon. Its goal was to break Barry's spirit with fear. Raymond tells Barry that the real exorcism method is on a tape in the basement. With no other choice, Barry has to enter the previously forbidden basement. Following Raymond's directions, she finally finds the dusty tape. These are recordings from Raymond's youth. Inside, it details all the steps of the exorcism. First, one must find the symbols representing the demon's true name. The most crucial step is to collect the blood of the possessed, then mix it with embalming fluid to inject into a corpse. Only this can seal the demon inside it. Finally, the body is cremated for complete destruction. But at the end of the tape, Raymond reveals a horrifying truth. Years ago, one of his employees was possessed. For each exorcism, Raymond would cut the employee's hand to draw blood. All these years, he has treated her like a caged animal. This exorcist has hands stained with sin. After understanding the steps, Barry begins a race against time and the demon. She first follows the talisman's guidance, searching for symbols carved in secret places. The first 3 symbols are found easily, but as for the last symbol, a pipe in the bathroom suddenly bursts. Water gushes out, quickly rising above her ankles. Barry can't move in time and hits her head hard on the floor. In a daze, she remembers the unforgettable scene from when she was 14. Barry had passed out by the river from an overdose. Her father frantically searched for her. In his panic, he slipped. He hit his head on a rock and died instantly. The next second, Barry wakes up on the bathroom floor. She realizes this is another mental attack from the demon. She tries to push all thoughts aside and places the final piece into the compass. The compass immediately transforms. The demon's name appears in the center. Next comes the most difficult step, obtaining the blood of the possessed. Barry returns to the basement, forcing herself to stay calm. The woman in the cage begs for her life. Although Barry feels some pity, she knows the woman before her is possessed. After taking a vial of blood, Barry immediately returns to the morgue. She quickly finds the body that wasn't cremated earlier. This is the only host the demon can now inhabit. The entity seems to sense its impending doom, so it drops the act. Barry places the compass directly on the demon's chest. Then, following the procedure, she injects the embalming fluid and blood into the body. When a red mark appears on its forehead, it means the demon is sealed within this body. Barry stands by, breathing a sigh of relief. She hurriedly pushes the body into the cremator. A faint growl echoes from within the raging fire. Barry thinks it's all over. She even intends to return to the basement to save the imprisoned woman. But she forgot that the woman is also possessed. Luckily, Raymond appears just in time. He once again shows the mark on his chest, easily forcing the woman back into her cage. Barry stands beside him, her face pale. She really can't accept that her boss could be so cruel. Perhaps one day she too will be imprisoned in that dark basement. Raymond shakes his head. He apologizes for everything he has done. But he has no regrets. After all, this is a gateway to hell. His responsibility is to guard this place and prevent demons from harming the world. Raymond makes an offer to Barry. He hopes she will stay, to fight the creatures from hell alongside him. This would also help her overcome her inner fears. Barry hesitates for a long time. She ultimately decides to leave. But just as she steps outside, she sees the silhouette of a demon in the distance. Barry's expression is deeply conflicted. In the end, she turns back into the funeral home. That was the entire story of The Mortuary Assistant. If you enjoyed this, please follow me for more. See you in the next movie recap.